And for more on this story, we're joined by Marina Miron. She's a postdoctoral researcher in the War Studies Department at King's College in London. Thanks so much for being with us. As we heard, this planned trip by Anthony Blinken to China was canceled as a result of this. Do you think that this strain between the U.S. and China over this balloon incident will have any long-term effects?
I think if we consider the relationships that China and the US have had for the past years, starting with trade wars under the Trump administration, and now even the last year, the relationship has been rocky, for instance, because of China's stance on economic sanctions against Russia and China's potential encroachment upon Taiwan and the potential of a hot war breaking out there on the one hand. On the other hand, the US basically allowing Nancy Pelosi to fly to Taiwan despite a Chinese disagreement and threats. And also in the economic sphere, we had the ban of semiconductors being exported to China, which would curtail China's ability to produce sophisticated military equipment as well as develop artificial intelligence systems. And the latest blow to this relationship was the U.S. announcement of an increased military presence in the Philippines. So perhaps this is not the only incident that would have contributed to this rocky relationship between the two countries. And for the foreseeable future, given China's stance and China's ambitions and its present allies being Russia, Iran, it wouldn't be surprising if the competition continues and becomes much more fierce than in the past.
Well, so the U.S. Navy is looking for debris right now from the balloon that was shot down over the Atlantic Ocean. What are they hoping to find?
Well, there is a possibility that it was a dual-use balloon. However, we still have no evidence, given the fact that it was shot down over water. There is still a possibility of recovering some sort of equipment it might have carried, such as electronic warfare equipment, certain sensors, and perhaps these parts will not be damaged so that they can be reverse engineered and serve as an evidence that China indeed has used this balloon not just for the purpose of monitoring the weather, but also for spying on U.S. nuclear side.
Before we let you go, I have to ask you about this second Chinese balloon that's been spotted over Latin America. Does this present a kind of a PR problem for China if the rest of the world has this perception that it is spying on them?
Well, it is quite interesting because the Latin American countries are not perceiving this balloon as a threat. So there is information coming from the United States saying that this balloon is yet another spy balloon. However, Latin American countries, for instance, the Colombian Air Force, hasn't perceived it as a threat to national security. So we don't know whether China was indeed using these balloons to spy, or maybe it's fulfilling its geoengineering program, which would require them to observe weather in order to fulfill the goals of this program by 2025, namely weather modification. So there are a lot of possibilities, but without being able to look at the actual technologies that that balloon uses, we cannot rule out that it might be used for dual purpose.
Okay, to be continued. Marina Miron, postdoctoral researcher in the War Studies Department at King's College, London. King's College in London. Thanks so much for joining us here on France 24.
Thank you.